Bro, do you remember when you wanted to be a cop?
Yeah, I remember very clearly.
What happened? Why didn't you end up doing that?
Dude, it was ass.
I mean, first of all, I can't see you being a cop. Let me just say that.
Well, to preface everything, at the time, like growing up, all throughout, I don't know when I committed to wanting to be a cop, but I took that shit so seriously. Like in high school, all I wanted to do, like all I would talk about was like, I want to be a cop. I want to be a cop.
Were you like pulling kids over in the hallway for running too fast? You know why I pulled you over?
No, dude, no. I don't know why I wanted to be a cop. It just seemed really fun. It seemed like a fun job. Like, it's like entrepreneurship, right? Like, I told you, who says it? Mark Andreessen. He's like, you only feel two feelings. You feel euphoria or you feel terror. And I feel like that's kind of in the similar vein of being a cop. Like, you can get your adrenaline going. And I think that's why I kind of like gambling a lot too. But anyways, I really want to be a cop. And I was so committed in high school. All I would talk about was wanting to be a cop. I changed my Twitter handle to aspiring LEO. LEO meaning law enforcement officer. And I even wanted to be a cop so bad, I didn't want to do it in Hesperia. And the reason I actually moved to Orange County my senior year of high school was to work for one of the Orange County police departments. And as soon as I turned 18, I joined the Orange PD Explorer program. And as soon as I got there, I had to go to like 2 meetings or something before I could be like a trainee. You couldn't even go straight to being an explorer because they have to see that you're committed. Mm-hmm. And so I had to put on this white shirt that said Robinson in block letters.
Okay.
And I had to go to Michael's and like stencil that shit myself. And I had to put that on. I had to tuck it in, wear like a belt with like boots. And I had to get my own Maglite flashlight and everything. And I go to my 2 meetings or whatever and like, okay, you can come be a trainee. And so I come be a trainee. And first day, I start getting yelled at by the explorers. So not even real cops, but by the explorers, I start getting yelled at. Like they're getting in my face, yelling at me, telling me I'm a sheep and I need to be a wolf or something. And it's this like college-aged female, not even a real cop, yelling at me in my face. And it was just the most humiliating experience of my life. It took me like 1 week or 2 weeks of doing it to be like, no, this ain't it. Let's go back to the drawing board.
So were they trying to emulate that military boot camp type feel, but just wasn't hidden the same way?
Right, exactly. And the whole goal behind it was like, okay, I get to get an in here with Orange PD for the interview process, because the interview process to be a cop is pretty extensive. You have to go through rounds of questioning. You have to do a polygraph test, training test. And I thought it would increase my likelihood of becoming a cop, which it would have for sure. But after going through that, and they emulate that because when you go through like the actual boot camp, when you get hired, you have to get certified. I think it's called like post-certification. It's kind of like a military style thing. And so that's what they try to emulate. But I was like, this is just not for me. And so it was like 4 or 5 years of like this buildup of this idea of wanting to do something. And then I had that experience. I was like, no. And then a month or 2 later, I was like, how do I make money?
Wow. That's crazy. I didn't know the full story. So it's interesting. All right, let's get started.
All right. So this bit, we're going to do a tier list on all the different business opportunities out there. Not all the business opportunities, because I know some of you are going to be like, oh, that's not all the business models. It's not all of them. I know it's not all of them, but we're only doing the business models that gurus are pushing. So that's the thing. And our criteria for how we're placing these on the tier list, so we'll do S, A, B, C, is earning potential. How much enterprise value you can actually build in a business. So how much the business will actually be worth if you ever decide to sell it. What were the other criteria? I forgot.
Like level of skill that is necessary to do it successfully.
Startup cost.
And then startup cost.
So startup cost, level of skill, enterprise value, and earning potential.
Yep.
Those are our criteria. And we have a list, so we'll go down the list and then we'll place them. And let's just jump right in.
Okay.
What's the first one?
Drop shipping. I think that's like the holy grail of like the gurus, that the business opportunity that they're pushing. So in terms of let's just start with the skill. What level of skill do you think is required to start one of these businesses and do it successfully.
Dude, you need a lot of skills for dropshipping. Like, dropshipping is probably really high up in skill out of all the business opportunities we're going to talk about, because you need to know how to run ads. If you're not running ads, then you got to be good at organic, editing content, posting content, which, I mean, it's not the hardest thing in the world, but then you have to actually build a relationship with whatever product you want to sell with the manufacturer to dropship. So you do need a decent amount of skill if you want to run paid ads. That kind of drops a little bit if you don't and you're good at organic, but most people still run paid ads. All those TikTok ads you see for like whatever cheap Chinese product they're pushing is drop shipped. And right. I've seen some of that. They're really good. And the earning potential in it, you can make a lot of money drop shipping. I still to this day see people getting into drop shipping and posting their screenshots and making tons of money. The margins aren't great, but if you're pushing a lot of volume, you can make a lot of money.
But a lot of skill is required to push that much volume. And I think something to take into account is the amount of competition that there is in a certain industry also affects the skill level needed, because, you know, you can be like whatever at running ads, but if no one's really doing it, which was like the early days of drop shipping, what the case was, then you could see some success in it. But if everybody, their mom is doing drop shipping, everybody's running ads, and they're selling the same products, and it becomes who can run ads better and who can sell it for cheaper, then it's just kind of a race to the bottom, and you have to be really good to like make a lot of money.
Not only that too, but you're hunting to get to your revenue levels every single month, because what makes a good business is repeat purchase or recurring revenue, high volume of repeat purchases or recurring revenue. I don't see a lot of dropshippers getting a lot of repeat purchases. So you're constantly hunting for new customers, constantly clawing back up to where you were the previous month by hunting for new business all the time. So you have low LTV, you don't have great margins, and more importantly, you don't really have any enterprise value, because if you're so scared to tell other people what your product is because they're going to steal it, it's not really a real business. You know, you're not going to get any return. Like, no one's going to buy that from you.
Yeah,
know?
I mean, if you're selling a business, whoever's buying it is looking for something that is stable, something that's going to keep making money for the next 10 plus years. So like you said, if you have a business that's based around one product that can so easily be taken out, then no one's going to want to buy that.
Yeah.
Even if you are making $1 million a year.
Mm-hmm. So for that reason, I think it's a good side hustle. It's an okay side hustle. It's like make a quick buck, but like don't go all in on being the next, like building this big dropshipping company. Just build your own brand if you're going to do it. Maybe use dropshipping as the test to validate a product, and then move it to private label and build a brand around it so you can actually build something that has enterprise value.
Right. So then on the tier list, dropshipping.
C.
Definitely C.
I don't like dropshipping.
Yeah. Okay, that kind of leads us into FBA though, because FBA can be private labeled, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's a bunch of different like categories of FBA. I'm not gonna sit here and try to name them. I don't know, to be quite honest. But FBA, I would put a level above dropshipping for sure already, just because you have the built-in distribution of Amazon. So if you can rank for keywords, you'll push a lot of volume. And if you're starting a new brand, it's a good way to get your brand's name out there. The only thing I don't like about Amazon is the cut that Amazon actually takes for that. So you already have that eating into your margin off rip. Not only that, but with FBA, they don't give you any of your customers' data. So you can push $1 million a month, $2 million a month on Amazon, but not have any of that customer data to remarket to. So you're kind of at the whim of hoping Amazon keeps you in the rankings and maintaining that reputation for your product and the good reviews for your product.
Yeah, it's always tough when your whole business is, you know, kind of controlled by the platform that you're on.
Yeah, platform dependency.
We've seen that happen with, people like Vine. Like, take it back to Vine. Like, people blew up on Vine, and their whole brand is based around it, and then Vine shuts down. Boom, whole business is gone.
Yeah.
Not that Amazon's shutting down, but like they changed the algorithm, they changed how they rank things, and you go from 1 month doing 50K to like 5K.
Mm-hmm. And with FBA, you have a lot higher of a startup cost than say drop shipping, because with drop shipping, all you're doing is taking orders, and then the manufacturer is fulfilling and sending the customer the product directly from their warehouse or
which is why your margins are lower, right? Yeah.
However, with FBA, you have to order the product, then ship it to Amazon's fulfillment center. They'll fulfill it. That's why it's fulfillment by Amazon, FBA. So you have that upfront investment cost to buy product. And you can start with a little bit, but your startup cost is going to be a lot higher than a lot of the other business models we're going to list out.
I mean, a little bit is still going to be like at least $1,000 in product.
Yeah.
At least.
Like $1,000 to $5,000.
Yeah.
100%. So that's kind of a downside. Not only on the other hand, though, you are going to build a lot more enterprise value with FBA, especially because you have a lot of the aggregators. Dude, there's like 100+ Amazon aggregators that just buy Amazon brands. Now, there are a lot going out of business, but there's still a lot out there that are acquiring these companies. So there is good exit potential, even if you can get an FBA business to like $1 million a year. You can make decent money off it. I just heard a podcast where someone built a 3D printed tray for Peloton bikes to put your computer on when you're biking.
Mm-hmm.
And he said he made like life-changing money off of that exit, and the business was doing just over $1 million a year, I think. So it's pretty small.
I think there is a right way to do it where you can get customers that you initially got on Amazon, but then get them over to your website if it's anything that can be repeat ordered. And then now you have like an even more sustainable business that is even more attractive to sell, because now you have all the customer data. Now you have them going through your website. You can, encourage repeat orders and all that stuff.
Yeah, you can give them a discount for ordering directly through your website because you're still going to capture the margin and the data.
Right.
So we're both have little knowledge on e-commerce, but from what I've read and heard through just reading things and listening to podcasts, it's really hard to do. Like, lots of brand owners struggle with that on FBA, of converting customers to their website. Like, a lot of them, it's a lot harder than you'd think from what I've read.
Yeah.
On top of that too, I also read recently, this month or last month, Amazon actually cut back their take for FBA stores because TikTok Shop is ripping. And that's something I'd be concerned about too, because TikTok Shop, you don't have to do anything. It's better than dropshipping and FBA because you just have to market the stuff and you make the commission.
Yeah. And
I'm seeing some crazy screenshots with commission payouts. People just posting 30-second videos, pushing product, and making $60,000, $100,000 in a month of pure profit from posting videos.
And now that's a new business opportunity that's being pushed.
It is.
TikTok Shop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think TikTok Shop's a big opportunity. But FBA, where would you put it?
I put it at a B.
At a B?
Yeah.
I put it at a B too. I put it slightly above dropshipping, but still kind of ass.
Yeah, is that how we're ranking it? Still kind of ass, but it's B. All right. Okay. All right. Next one. SMMA. So basically marketing agencies.
So I lumped marketing in. I put that on the list because there's so many. I mean, ghostwriting, short form editing agencies, Facebook ad agencies. We're gonna just lump those all together and call it an agency. What do you like? What do you don't like about agencies?
So I mean, what I like about it is that the startup costs are very low, right? It's really the skill that is required from you. So, and the skills aren't even like super hard to learn. So the level of skill that you need to start one of these businesses and start making a couple $1,000s a month is actually surprisingly low. I think a lot of people, they underestimate how quickly you can make money with them. So I like that part of it. The part I don't like about it is that it is very difficult to keep these customers. So whenever you're doing any kind of agency where you're on a retainer, it's kind of like that feeling of like you have to sell this person every single month, and that makes it hard to do. But at the end of the day, it comes down to having a good product, having a good service, and that's kind of learned as you go. So that's my answer. Yeah.
Dude, I really like marketing agencies.
Yeah.
Because it's a service-based business, right? So if you're like down on your luck, you're looking at all this big list we're talking about, you got no money. You basically need no money. You have an Instagram account. You can start getting lead. You can start messaging people and get your first customer. And you can close them for $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 up front and immediately have $10,000 of profit because you're the one that did the sales and now you're the one that has to do the fulfillment. And you can start taking that money to hire people like account managers to continuously sell your current customers to get them on retainer and increase the lifetime value. So that's a solvable problem for sure. But that's easily the biggest thing I see most marketing agency owners struggle with is keeping people on retainer, and they get stuck in the cycle of like having to hunt for new business all the time. But if you can solve the fulfillment problem and you're really, really good at what you do, then that usually won't be a problem. Low startup cost and enterprise value on it is really, really high if you start hiring people and putting layers of management in. I mean, dude, there's agencies that do billions of dollars. You know, look at VaynerMedia. VaynerMedia doesn't do billion, but there's huge networks of companies that just acquire agencies and continue to roll them up and roll them up and roll them up. It just comes down to what you're kind of like, they call it in the agency world a unique mechanism. So like what makes you different from all the other agencies. If you're selling Facebook ads, like what are you doing different? You know, how are you being uncommoditized is the biggest thing, especially if you're getting into like a saturated niche within the agency world, like Facebook ads.
Yeah, I mean, one that I've been seeing like a ton of is copywriting. Copywriting and video editing. Like we get so many messages on Instagram and stuff. People like, oh, who edits your videos? Who does your copywriting? And I mean, because it's so easy to start one of these businesses and say, oh, I'm a copywriter. There's going to be a ton of people flooding in, but like how many of those are actually good, right? Mm-hmm. Not a lot of them. So I think your competition is still relatively low. Even though there's like a lot of people out there trying to do it, there's not a lot of them that are going to end up sticking with it, you know, for months or years. So
yeah, it's like a house cleaning business. It's low barrier to entry. You're going to have people coming in and out of the market all the time. But if you can get case studies, you can get good testimonials, good reviews, and you have a really good fulfillment, you're going to get referrals. And you're gonna be able to scale that business because you're gonna do a good job at retaining your customers, and it's gonna be very predictable because you're gonna know how much money you're walking into next month, versus having to hunt for all that new business like you would in the last two business models we talked about. So I really like agencies, dude. I would probably put agency at an S.
S tier, huh?
Yeah, I mean low startup cost, relatively low amount of skill depending on what you're selling. Potential for high enterprise value the bigger the business gets, because the more you scale the revenue and the profit, the higher multiple you'll get when you go to sell it. And what was the other one? The criteria.
The
skill, cost, enterprise value,
earning potential.
Yeah, and you can make a shitload of money because especially at the beginning, you're capturing all that profit as the sole owner.
So okay, I would put it at an A tier because the earning potential up front is really high. Like you said, you can start and you could be making a couple $1,000s. I don't think it's that easy to sell one of these businesses. You have a point. Like if you do get it to the point where you have a ton of employees in there and you have the whole thing working without you, then yeah, you can sell it for a good amount of money. But how many agencies are out there actually successfully doing this? I think it's really hard to be the copywriter that has all the skill and then get someone in to replace yourself. Like I see people struggle with this all the time as an agency because either they feel like no one can do it as good as them, or two, you hire a copywriter, you train them and all that, but then they go and leave and do their own thing because it's so easy to have your own copywriting agency. That's what I see a lot of like agency owners struggle with, which is why I put it at an A. I still think it's a great opportunity to start, but in terms of like your ability to sell it down the road and build like a big company around it, I feel like it's pretty hard.
That also comes down to like leadership skills though, which is going to be in any business. Like take HVAC for example. You see companies getting rolled up every day for fat multiples when one of the technicians can easily go out and do a one man thing, a one man show and start their own shop. You're going to see that with any business that's low barrier to entry. But there's so many agencies that get bought for lots of money that are like very niche. They have their unique mechanism that they're really good at. Take like the company we're working with right now for HubSpot. In the next 5 years, I'll bet you anything they can sell for an absolute bag because they're very specialized in what they do and they're not selling commoditized things like copywriting. So if you're using copywriting as an example, maybe, but overall, I think that just comes down to a downside of any business because you can apply that to a big FBA business too because you're going to have management and leadership. And all the business models we're going to talk about, you're going to run into that because they're all kind of low barrier to entry and being pushed out in the internet by all these gurus. You're like, start this, start that. But I would still put it at an S for the fact of recurring revenue, and you take out the factor of the skill of like leading employees, of just recurring revenue, high margins. Sell it for a bag. But we have to come to a conclusion and agreement on where we want to place it for editing purposes.
All right.
But A+. We'll add in a little A+. I think it's an S,
I'm down
though.
for that. Yeah.
I think it's an S, though, because if we go off that, I don't think any of these business models will be an S. Actually, no, because what's the next one? We'll call it an A+.
Which one are you thinking of? Sounds like you're thinking of a specific one.
There's an S on there for sure.
Okay, let me just interrupt real quick to tell you about Home Service Academy. It's the company Sergio and I run. Home Service Academy is essentially a business in the box where our team will actually roll up our sleeves and help you build a house cleaning business and run it completely remotely from anywhere in the world, from dirt to however big you actually want to take it. To date, we've helped over 1,500 people start and grow their existing house cleaning businesses all across the US and Canada. It's something we've gotten very, very good at. And if you've been looking to dip your toe into entrepreneurship, whether that's to go full-time in a business, to replace an income, or just build a side hustle that produces you an extra whatever amount of money you want to make on the side, on top of your current 9-to-5, then click the link in the bio and book a call with our team. It's completely free, and at the very least, you'll see what it looks like to actually run one of these businesses, the time commitments, the amount of money it costs to actually start, and every good and bad thing that can come with running one of these. So again, if that's something you're interested in, click the link in the bio, and let's get back to the pod.
Coaching, consulting.
Okay. Coaching, consulting. I mean, it's very similar to a marketing agency. The only difference I would say with coaching, because you're selling services, it's still a service business, right? So all the same things for agencies apply. Low startup cost. That's really about it. Low startup cost. The recurring revenue component is a lot harder to create in a coaching business as opposed to an agency. And there's also a lot of competition. But if you can,
I think it depends on what niche you're going into.
If you're like an online personal trainer, it'd be pretty hard to
That's
start.
like the hardest. That's like the most saturated one.
Yeah,
for sure.
Health, wealth, relationships, right? You're starting a biz op. Like you get good at FBA, let's say. You want to start a business opportunity coaching program, really steep competition. Anything in health, wealth, relationships is going to be really challenging. So if you have something where it's very unique, like we saw one today that was how to increase your jumping, like how to jump higher with like 30,000 people in it. Like that, okay, that's pretty unique, you know?
Well, I don't know, dude, because I think you can niche down any of those things because, like, I've seen personal trainers that specifically, I mean, you've seen them, like, they specifically target women in their 30s that are nurses that have kids. Or, you know what I mean? Or, dude, like, have this certain symptoms.
Coaching.
You know what I mean?
Girl coaching. Your fiance has a fitness online coaching business.
Yeah, I mean, she's still like trying to find her niche, but like she does like target women that are between like 30 and 40 that have jobs usually. Sometimes
that
you have
Latina.
kids. Not really. It's not like niche down to Latina, but they want to lose weight.
But all her clients are Latina, right?
Not all of them, but probably like 75% of them. Yeah. But she doesn't say that's her niche.
Oh, okay.
But like, I mean, there's some crazy like, you know, specific niches that you could get within any of these coaching categories.
Yeah.
So,
but going back to what I was saying, it's very similar to a marketing agency. The only problem is I think it's a lot easier to create recurring revenue in a marketing agency because it's a service that's ongoing. Like it's usually a business service.
Yeah.
Whereas coaching, you have to have some type of like ascension. So like if you sell them a 16-week coaching program on the front end for $4,000, let's say, you better have a way to either send them to like some type of like higher level program for like $8K or $10K or more expensive, or sell them continued services for a monthly retainer and have them continue to renew, which is a lot more challenging to do, especially if you're doing like a B2C coaching and it's not a B2B coaching.
Yeah, because in coaching, it doesn't feel as tangible as like a marketing agency. Like if someone's running your Facebook ads, it's like, okay, they're clearly doing a service for me versus like if just stay on coaching, like fitness coaching, for example. you want to feel like after the 16 weeks, you know everything you need to like keep being healthy, keep being fit, right? But as a coach, you have to convince them, hey, you haven't learned everything. I'm still here to hold you accountable, and they have to be willing to pay whatever, couple $100 a month for that. And from our experience, it's been pretty difficult to do that. I mean, now we have like a more dialed in system, but it took us a while
like
to learn that.
Almost 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not only that, but lots of times too, when you see these new coaching companies get started, consulting companies get started, the guru is the face of the brand. And it's very hard to pull yourself out of the fulfillment in the day-to-day of the actual coaching because people bought because they saw your face and they trust you. And you've likely built an audience and you've built trust in your audience and they want coaching from you and that's why they're paying.
Mm-hmm. So it is harder to pull yourself out of it.
And it's harder to sell if you can't do that because if you go away, well, then your business is going to go away and that's a lot of risk for a potential buyer.
Yeah. I think when we first started our coaching business, we thought this is the best business model ever because we made a lot of money up front. We made a good amount, like launched, made like 45K. 50K in the first 2 weeks. And at that point, we were like, why doesn't everyone have a coaching business? And then now we know why. Because, yeah, you can start low startup costs. We started with no money. We started with Johnny's 4,000 follower audience on Twitter. And from there...
Come on, it's more like 6,000 or 7,000.
Okay, 6,000, 7,000. But yeah, I mean, low startup costs. You can make a lot of money up front. It's all profit if it's just you in the business, which most coaching businesses are. So those are the pros. But then being able to scale it, sell it, have people continue to pay you every month, like that's really hard.
So where would you put coaching consulting?
Level of skill. What would you say for coaching?
I think level of skill just it depends. Like if you're just getting started and making content very low, as long as you're actually good at what you're coaching on, then it's fine. But when you start to bring in like paid media and you start wanting to run Facebook ads and you start needing to staff a sales team and training the sales team, it's a very high skill level if you want to.
I mean, dude, I wonder, like, okay, for the listeners, it kind of depends on what type of business you want to do, right? Because I think with just like a normal organic audience, like you're just running an Instagram funnel, you got a couple thousand followers, you could probably make 6 figures a year, just you in the business, like pretty easily. So if that's what you're trying to do, it's a pretty good business opportunity. But for the purposes of like this tier list, I would put it I'm in between an A and a B, to be honest.
I think because the whole criteria we're going off of is it scalable? Can you exit? If that's what we're going off of, I put it at a B, just because you don't see big exits in coaching. There's like a handful of people who've actually sold a coaching business and consulting company.
Yeah, I mean, like the big one people talk about is Alex Ramosi Gym Launch, but he had Prestige Labs, like a whole supplement company wrapped into that. So it's a little bit different. Yeah. It's not just the coaching.
Yeah, I'd put it at a B. I
have to agree with you, partner.
It's easy to start, hard to maintain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, we did drop shipping, FBA, marketing agencies, coaching. Now
SaaS. Dude, SaaS.
Are you seeing gurus push SaaS?
Dude, yeah, all types of gurus are pushing SaaS now, but they're not pushing SaaS in the way you think. Where you're like hiring developers and like building an actual good product. They're like, no, let me teach you how to use Bubble and these no-code tools and build a white label SaaS and start selling it.
Go high level too, I'm assuming, right? I see a lot of those. Yeah, go high level SaaS.
Go high level, Bubble. Not so much go high level. I'm more so referring to like the Bubble. I forget what the other no-code tools are. There's a lot out there now.
Okay.
But they're pushing this like no-code SaaS stuff and like getting people to create these subpar products and selling it. But SaaS as a whole, great business model if you can get it going. Very high skill though. By far the hardest business. I've never run a SaaS. You've never run a SaaS, but we kind of have like, we tried the no-code thing with CleanWorks. You want to talk about that?
Not really.
I know you got PTSD.
Because I took it behind the barn and shot it. But yeah, okay, we used Go High Level to start a SaaS, and the idea here was we had a ton of cleaning companies in our program that needed a better way to manage their leads. So we're like, okay, let's use this software that allows you to like basically have a white label SaaS. We called it CleanWorks, and we poured like $10,000 into getting it built out. And when people started using it, obviously people are gonna have problems. Like problems as small as like I can't log in to problems as like trying to use a product and it not working the way they wanted to. And I realized I need a whole like support team, and just need to constantly be like improving the product, because that's what comes with SaaS, is just always having to improve the product based on the customer's experiences. And that's when I realized like this is harder than I thought it would be. It's going to require more work, more effort, more time, and it just wasn't the right time. So then we ended up having to shut it down. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm not opposed to doing SaaS in the future, but for the time being, it didn't make sense to do it.
Also, given our situation, we're running a coaching consulting business.
Right.
We don't run a SaaS business. So it's a big distraction to go and try to start a SaaS as opposed to just focusing on the main thing. And that's also kind of what we realized. But going back to tier list, like SaaS is very, very high skill level. By far the hardest business, but also at the same time, if you do have that skill level, and you do have the capital, because it requires a high startup cost, because you do have to hire developers, you can go the no code route and make it work. But I mean, I don't see too many big businesses built off of no code, to be quite honest. Maybe that will change in the future, but as of right now, all the big SaaS companies have big dev teams, big support teams, or at least some type of dev team or some type of support team. Mm-hmm. Which, if you're just a beginner looking to get into something, don't go into SaaS. Like, you need to learn the skills first, so start something easier. But as far as enterprise value goes, and just the size of like the earning potential in it is by far the highest of any other business we talked about. By far, because the difference between SaaS and everything else we talked about is you can actually get multiples on the revenue. They trade on multiples of revenue instead of profit. Which obviously your revenue is always going to be higher than your profit. So your exit potential and your paydays are going to be a lot bigger if you ever sell a SaaS business.
Yeah, PE companies pay a shit ton for SaaS companies, but because going back to what we talked about earlier, if you can get X amount of people paying you the same amount every month, and it's a very sticky product, for example, like a CRM, or I mean, what's like a
Booking Koala.
Yeah. I mean, like, as a business, you're using Booking Koala to run your whole business. What are the odds that you're going to change that CRM? Like, very low. So that's why people are willing to spend or pay so much to buy your SaaS company.
Yeah, 100%.
So in terms of the tier list, like, as this has a business opportunity.
It's the stickiness of the customer in SaaS is what they're paying for.
Exactly. So I would put this at a B, because it's so freaking hard to start. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you factor out hard to start, though, it's an S. It's the best business.
Yeah, for sure.
I think SaaS is the best business model.
I think no code improves like your ability to like create a SaaS product without needing to know code. It'll probably go higher up in the tier list.
Also AI.
Yeah, AI and no code and all that getting better over time. Within the next 10 years, we'll probably see a big like SaaS company sell for a lot of money that was started on no code. Mm-hmm. But not right now.
Yeah. I'm sure there's already been some that have done that, but exceptions don't make the rule. So,
okay. So, let's see what else we have left.
While you pull that up, we talked about Booking Koala, best booking platform for cleaning companies. If you're thinking about starting a cleaning company, click the link in the bio.
Facts.
Sign up for Booking Koala. $57 a month, super cheap.
So, we have house cleaning, and then we have high ticket closing. The last two.
Let's talk about high ticket closing first. We got to save house cleaning for last.
The best for last, eh?
No bias. No bias.
No bias.
High ticket closing. I wanted to put this one in there because it's not even a freaking business model, dude. Like, but people push it as a business model. Like, oh, don't start a business. I learned this one high income skill and I make $20,000 a month, right? High ticket closing, I want to make it very clear, is not a business. You are an employee. You're working a job if you're trying to be a high ticket closer. Just know that. I've even hopped on interviews with people who want to work at Home Service Academy who are like, I'm just done working a 9 to 5. I'm like, my brother in Christ, you realize you're applying for a 9 to 5,
Yeah.
right? So high ticket closing is great. It's low skill, low startup cost, and the earning potential is very, very high, so long as you can find the right company to work for. There's, in the coaching consulting world, most business owners that are hiring high ticket closers have likely been through some type of program where they're learning how to build a sales team. And when you're working for companies like that, it's kind of like the blind leading the blind. So you've got to bank on the fact that the business owner and the company you're going to work for has established lead flow, has good training systems and processes for you to actually continue to improve your skills, and also trajectory for you to grow if that's something you want to do. Because a closer's lifespan is not that long. You typically see closers not last too long now. We've had the same closing team for a while now, but they've been bred right. They started as setters, moved to closers. There's more potential for them to grow if they want to continue to grow with the company, and our culture is amazing. Not many companies in the coaching consulting space have that. And so there's too many people that are being sold this dream of, hey, go be a high ticket closer. Learn this one high income earning skill. While yeah, sales is a great skill to learn in all aspects of life. Learn sales. There's not enough companies out there to back that up and have that earning potential, right? So you have this large pool of people who want to be high ticket closers and a very, very small pool of companies that actually have realistic earning potential. Sure, you might get at a company, you might join a company as a high ticket closer who's selling, let's say, like an Amazon FBA like business opportunity, right, for $20,000, $30,000, and you might come out the gate and start making $10K, $20K, $30K in a month. But how long is that going to last? Because you don't see these companies last longer than a year or 2 years. Right?
Yeah. A lot of the high ticket closing companies that are like placing you or like telling you to go to like sell for a certain company, it's usually these coaching consulting businesses, and a lot of times you end up on some kind of offer where you can just tell it's like scammy.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't really see the product working well. So then you either, leave at that point, or you live long enough to be the villain and sell these people a shitty product. And yeah, I guess you can make good money doing that, but it never lasts too long, like you said, because the company's going to end up either going out of business or whatever. So
yeah, and a lot of them don't know how to comp correctly, so lots of times you don't even have a base. It's just commission, and you're just fighting for your life every month. If you're good, that's fine, and you're good at sales, then it's okay. But there's no enterprise value because it's not a business, and it's just a job. It's just a job. That's it. It's just a job.
In terms of like the level of skill needed, anybody could be a closer, but I don't think people understand.
No,
okay,
no.
All right. Let's see. I want to hear your perspective too. Can anybody be a closer? I see where you're coming from for sure, but I don't think you have to be a natural salesperson, quote unquote, to be a closer. Like if you put enough reps in and you have some level of like good communication skills, then you could be a closer. So I don't like if that's you, then I don't think it's like too out of the realm for you to make good money being a closer.
100%. And if you have high EQ,
yeah,
closing and high ticket sales is all about like communication and reading body language. And if you could do that well and understand if a customer's in a buying pocket or not, and think on the fly and be quick on your feet, you'll be good. Even if you're just naturally good at those things, it'll translate well into closing. But not everybody could be a closer.
Yeah. If you're the opposite of that, like go to copywriting or something where you don't have to talk to people.
Yeah.
100%.
It's actually skill levels like mid tier, because if you're really, really good, then all the big companies are going to be after you for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of people that get sold a dream of like, hey, I have one high income skill, make $10K a month. And
you can just tell that person's not going to be
they're
able
not
to
going to make
close.
it. Yeah, they're not going to make it. And I've hopped on a lot of interviews. I've trained a lot of closers, hired a lot of closers, hired a lot of setters that I thought would be closers. And yeah, it's not going to work out.
Sales is tough, but if you're good at sales, it's a great skill to have.
Yeah.
But in terms of the tier list, so level of skill, you said it's like mid. Earning potential.
Earning potential is pretty high for take
Pretty
home.
high, right?
Pretty high if so long as you find the right company, which is hard to do. So for that reason, I would actually put it in also like kind of like a middle, like not low but not high.
Okay, and the startup cost, basically nothing. Like you can start at a company and learn how to do sales, right? And then eventually go up to high. Or I mean, if you're joining one of these guru courses, then it could be a lot, but that's pretty low.
If you don't join a guru course, then it's super low because you have to do outreach, and the typical path is you start as an appointment setter, then you move to closer.
Right. And then the last thing, obviously, there's no enterprise value here. So in terms of a business opportunity, this is about as C as you can get.
Yeah, it's the worst on the list for sure.
But
hopefully none of our closers watch this. I love our closing team's amazing. The HSA is a great company to work for.
Closing's a great skill to have.
It is 100%, but we only promote setters. We only promote current setters to closers. So if you want to be a closer, you got to start as a setter. And if you want to be an appointment setter, we're always interviewing. Link in bio. Click to apply.
Savages only.
Yeah. 100%.
All right. So the last one is house cleaning.
Dude, house cleaning, man. Let's talk about house cleaning.
Let's talk about it.
Who knew this one would be on the list? There's not many people pushing house cleaning.
Okay. So in terms of a business opportunity, level of skill needed, I would say is pretty low because, at the end of the day, you're starting a house cleaning business. Like, it's very simple to understand. Like, you're going to hire a cleaner, tell them to go to a house, and bada bing, bada boom. Right?
Bada boom. You're done. Okay, yeah. That's very simple, though. But, like, you also do need a little bit of skill in the fact that, like, hey, you're going to be selling the leads. Right. You're going to be marketing. You're going to be hiring. And you're going to be leading and delegating.
In terms of skill well-roundedness, I think that has to be, like, you have to be a little bit good at a lot of things, which can be, like, difficult for some people because some people might be good at, like, operations but then suck at selling and talking to people. I think the type of people I see make it the most so in the house cleaning space is the type of people that just get shit done. Like, no matter what, like, they're gonna talk to the right person. They're gonna reach out to whoever they need to get it done. And it's that level of tenacity that I see people do really well with.
Yeah. So, yeah, skill level, relatively low. Startup cost, I mean, $300 to $1,000. You're good to go. And I want to be clear, when we say house cleaning, I'm not talking like you going to Home Depot. We're not talking about you going to Home Depot, buying the cleaning equipment and going and cleaning homes yourself. We're talking about the referral agency model where hiring contractors as cleaners as contractors and sending them to jobs and giving them a 40 to 50% cut. That model specifically, low skill, low startup cost.
I would actually backtrack a little bit and say mid skill.
Yeah, probably mid skill because of
because like the 18-year-old that has never even had a job before, like fresh out of high school, I feel like those type of people don't usually do as well because you need that level of EQ, like you said, and you need to be able to manage people and all that stuff, like put out fires with customers. Like, if you don't have life experience, I feel like that can be kind of difficult to do. So
on the flip side, though, too, that's also why I really like it, because you can come in with no skills and learn it with low startup costs. Yeah, because you can learn how to. Nobody can take those skills away from you. If you learn how to hire, you learn how to market, you learn how to sell, you learn how to lead and delegate and build the systems. You can take that into any business, and it's going to translate very, very well. And it's a good starter business to learn all those skills. And not only is it a good starter business, but I mean, if we go into like enterprise value, houses continue to get dirty over and over again, and people don't like to clean their house. So if you can just do a good job and you hire the right cleaner and you set good expectations on the phone, well, then that customer is going to book again and again and again and again and again and again. And it's going to be very predictable because you're going to know you have a certain amount of recurring revenue every single month. And it's a very Lindy service. When I say Lindy, it's been around for a long time. When something's been around for a long time, you can expect it to be around for a very long time. It's like a cup of coffee, right?
Yeah, there's no AI robots coming to clean your home.
No, dude. It's AI proof until they can get the cost of Terminators to come in and clean your house, which is going to be not in our lifetime, at least I think.
Yeah, and in terms of earning potential, can be very good.
Yeah,
So.
super high. I mean, 2 maids and a mop, dude. Was it 2 maids? Yeah, 2 maids and a mop.
Yeah.
Sold for $50-something million.
Yeah, I mean, that's on the high end. There's tons of companies that either franchise or they have a ton of corporate locations that are doing millions of dollars. But in terms of like someone starting a business today, remote cleaning business, we've seen people on average in their first couple months doing anywhere from like $5,000 to $15,000 per month in revenue, and we've seen as high as like $30,000-$40,000 within the first couple months, which is pretty crazy. Like starting a business first time ever and being that successful. So.
Yeah, and it's also a win-win too, because like a lot of these cleaners you'll hire are used to W-2 jobs where they're getting paid $15, $16, $17 an hour. When you give them an actual split off of what you're selling, they're making like $25, $30, $35 an hour working for these companies. So
yeah.
What else? There's one more point I had to bring up on cleaning. Oh, to further your point, Philip, who owns Booking Koala, and King of Maids, right? Booking Koala is the booking software I plugged, which click the link in the bio, $57, does everything, books the jobs, build your website. He also runs King of Maids, which is his referral agency cleaning business. In Chicago, does $2 million a year. Last I talked to him, I interviewed him on this channel. He does not take a salary from Booking Koala. He just still runs his cleaning, but has his wife running the cleaning business, like as the general manager,
right?
And just lives off the salary from his cleaning company, while he dumps all the profit back into Booking Koala so it can continue to grow and scale.
I've actually seen a lot of people do that, especially like in the real estate space.
Mm-hmm.
They'll start a remote cleaning business, and then a couple $1,000. They already have their W-2 jobs or whatever, their main thing, and they'll take that and invest it in real estate properties. So it's kind of like the same concept.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have an asset that's making you money. So there's earning potential. Talk about enterprise value.
Yeah. To recap, low startup cost and a mid-scale level, but you're going to learn it at a low risk. Learn all the skills low risk. You have pretty decent enterprise value. And what was the fourth one?
Earning potential.
Yeah. I mean, if you operate the business efficiently, 30 to 40% net profit margins, you build $1 million business, you can make on the low end $200,000 to $400,000 a year if you're not reinvesting any of that profit to grow. So kind of checks all boxes. Put this at the S.
Gotta put it at the S.
No
bias, man.
At all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So then to recap, we got drop shipping,
C
tier, FBA, B tier, the marketing agencies and freelance agencies like that.
Put it
that
A
plus. That was a pretty good business start.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's
coaching consulting at a B.
Coaching, yep.
SaaS at a B. We put it at a B.
Yeah.
And then we had high ticket closing, C, remote house cleaning. The
S
only
tier,
S on the
baby.
list, man.
Yeah.
This wasn't even planned, man. It
really
sense.
wasn't. But I do think that this was a very valuable video for anybody that's like interested in starting a business and they're seeing all the different gurus online like pushing these different things, because even though we were like S tier for house cleaning, you get the reality of like every single one. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like we talked about the good and the bad for all these different businesses. So
yeah,
it's a good video.
Yeah, I think so too. And if you want to build a house cleaning business where we'll actually roll up our sleeves and our team will roll up our sleeves and help you grow it, scale it from dirt to however big you want to take it, click the link in the bio. Join the free group where we give out a bunch more material completely for free on how you can start your own. And we have people in the free group making money. It's like super active. So click the link in the bio, join the free group, and start seeing what it's like to build a house cleaning business.
All right, let's wrap it up there.
All right.
Peace.